Hi, I'm Eric with Mathews, and in this video we're going to discuss some of the common communications problems you may encounter on a Pinnacle 2020 machine. Here we have a Pinnacle 2020 mock-up, and first I'd like to identify all of the components that talk to each other within our software and our system. So we have our two HMI screens here. We have the PLC down in the low voltage cabinet. We have a few AccuDry components, the dryer master board, and the RS-232 adapter. We have our Moxa server, as well as our 8-port switch, where all of these components communicate through. All of these components are connected via Ethernet, and they control different aspects of the software, so there's tips and clues that we can use to determine which part may have failed. So, one of the most common issues that we may see is yellow triangles on the HMI screen. These triangles look like the ones you see here. We can see on the home screen, by any PLC inputs, as well as on any other screen where you have PLC values or tags. Those yellow triangles tell us that the HMI and the PLC are not talking to one another. So the first and easiest thing to check is to make sure that the PLC and the Ethernet switch are turned on. We can tell that quickly by looking at the green LED here, as well as the green LED here on the switch. When both of those are on, it tells us the components have turned on. Anytime you have a communications problem, it's not a bad idea to cycle power to the machine and start it back up again and see if that clears your problem. If the problem persists and all the components are turned on, next we'll look at the Ethernet cables themselves. So we can see that coming out of the PLC, we have a red Ethernet cable. It comes around and lands right here, and we can see an LED that's flashing. That flashing LED by the Ethernet connection tells us that there are communications going over that cord, or attempting to at least. From this switch, there's a cable that comes up to the HMIs. So we can see this blue cable that leaves the cabinet and lands down here in the low voltage. If we look at the LEDs on this cable, they're not flashing. So that tells us that either we have a bad cable here, a bad port on the switch, or the cable's just not connected securely. So we try at both ends and we'll see that this cable is loose on one end. If we plug that in, momentarily we'll see that the yellow triangles will clear from both of these screens. We see they've disappeared on both sides. In the event that that doesn't work, you can replace the Ethernet cable or try using a different port on the 8-port switch and see if you have any better luck there. Another common issue you may encounter is a lack of a dryer master heartbeat. You can see your heartbeat signal that should be toggling on and off inside the settings menu, service menu on the HMI. So if you log in under service, go to your AccuDry settings, there's a light here that will flash on and off to indicate that there's communications with the AccuDry board. If that light is not flashing and you have an alarm that you have a lack of DM communications, that tells you that one of a few things are true. Either you've got bad Ethernet cords, or potentially one of the AccuDry components has failed. So the components we'll want to look at will be the dryer master board here and the NET232 adapter here. One of the first things you can try to test the dryer master board. On the side, there's a small black button. Pushing that button will cycle power, and within a few seconds you'll hear a beep. That beep tells you that the dryer master board powered up, and it's likely that the dryer master board is working properly. Once you've heard that, you can look at the 232 and ensure that you have flashing LEDs where the Ethernet cord plugs in. If both of those things appear to be working, you can try replacing the cable, but if you can't get your heartbeat back, it's time to start replacing. We'd start with the 232 and go from there. If you're unable to solve these types of problems on your own using these simple tricks, we can help diagnose these problems from our office here. If you have a valid MC-Track subscription, all of the hardware has already been installed. So all you need to do is make sure that you have a good internet connection plugged in right here. You'll notice the back of one of your HMIs has a router on the back, and there's a WAN port. This is where your internet connection should come in. Once you've got a good connection there, we will be able to communicate with each of the devices on this machine and help you figure out which piece isn't responding to us and what might need to be replaced. I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.